This is a new episode to my series, The Ones Who Got Away. In this series, we detail murders, mysterious disappearances, and happenings with not so conclusive endings, and even recognize the suspects and possible perpetrators who were never brought forth. Today, we travel to Sydney, Australia, where a tiger shark would put this town on the map. On April 25th, 1933, in front of crowds of families in an aquarium, this tiger shark began to act erratically. After regurgitating a bird, a boot, and a part of another shark, it then regurgitated a human arm from the elbow to the fingertips, and that was enough to freak out everyone in the aquarium. The police were called, and needless to say, an investigation began. The shark was killed in order to see if there were any other remains inside, and there wasn't. Police eventually tracked the arm to a local man named Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith was a local man with no real ties to criminals other than his friend Reginald Holmes, who was a local criminal. He was involved in everything from loan sharking to insurance fraud, you name it, he was in it. And it wasn't long before police also found a trail of insurance fraud claims leading to Reginald Holmes, Jimmy Smith, and another friend of theirs. However, when Jimmy Smith's disappearance and the discovery of his arm was made public, police began to track down Reginald Holmes, and he claimed that their other friend had killed Jimmy and blackmailed Holmes with the arm. So Holmes decided he would throw the arm into the ocean, where the tiger shark presumably ate it and then regurgitated it weeks later. Whatever the case, on the date that Reginald Holmes was supposed to testify in front of a grand jury and tell his story, he was mysteriously found murdered outside the courthouse. He had been shot over 6 times, once in the head and multiple times in the body. And police claimed that was one last insurance scam. Due to the fact that all of his dirty dealings and his dirty deeds would become public, to avoid his family, his wife and children, the embarrassment of both going into poverty and his various crimes being public, he put out an insurance policy on himself and hired a hitman to kill him in order for his family to collect the money and live in relative quietness. Their other friend, whom he was supposed to be testifying against, was eventually found not guilty, and a reporter is reported to have said this to his friend: "Of course you didn't do it, Mr. Brady, but please don't do it again, Mr. Brady," in a very sarcastic tone. Mr. Brady was one of the last who would have known what happened to Jimmy Smith and what really happened to the rest of his body. And I say one of the last because Reginald Holmes' wife was also due to come forward and tell police what she knows about Jimmy Smith before she was mysteriously killed in a house fire. The friend named Brady did not die until 1968. And needless to say, no trace of Jimmy Smith has ever been found, and no link to Brady or Holmes having been his murderer has ever been conclusively identified or publicly put out. What is known is that someone killed Jimmy Smith, and whether they put him in the harbor whole or piece by piece, had it not been for that pesky little shark who had a very upset stomach, Jimmy Smith would still be an urban legend to this day.